today,
yes,
we're talking about hypnosis because you are always fascinated by hypnosis.
Now, I know a little bit about hypnosis
Okay.
because I will reveal later, I'm not a stranger to it on either side of the equation.
Don't know what that means. And by the way, thanks for the visual aid.
Yeah.
Either side of the equation.
But this came about when I was in Vegas, and I went to one of these, stage hypnosis shows. They spent 5 minutes. When I've partaken, it takes some time. You're asleep, you're fine, you're aware of everything, everything's fine, and you're a chicken, and people are chickens. And I go, okay, well,
is that real? So my wife was a cocktail waitress years ago, and she is at a place where they have a hypnotist. Mm-hmm. And she says she's watching the show, and the guy, the hypnotist, says to one of the people on the stage, you're sitting on attack. Not knowing that the guy is a veteran, and he responds from PTSD by getting up and starting to throw chairs.
Because he heard the word attack.
Attack, yeah. Right. And she said it emptied out the club, and it was real. Yeah. It was real, and it was horrific. So you and I got to talking based on our hypnosis.
By the way, we're missing the bell, because otherwise we would have said, where is really stage hypnosis real? Bing!
I am
and
so
that's our
thrilled.
really no.
But and then it gets to the bigger issue, because our guest not only knows about hypnosis because of his background, but hypnotherapy, but how it can be used to help people with anxiety and cancer and smoking, etc.
Sure.
So real briefly, Franz Mesmer in the 1700s used it to heal people. Thank you.
The bell is here, folks. It's here.
And then supposedly, and we'll also guess about this, James Braid in the 1800s is considered the father of hypnosis, medical hypnosis, because he was a surgeon who used his techniques to anesthetize people doing surgery. And I would rather at that time in the 1800s go, I'm going for the guy with anybody have anything to knock me the hell out. But I'm also curious if it's that powerful a tool.
Contained within this shell is the answer.
Really? No, really? Really? No, really? Really?
Okay, we will find. Wow.
No,
Yeah.
really?
I may actually stay around for most of this episode. Usually I leave halfway through.
Right.
It's interesting. But the other thing I want to know too is, like you said, watch the watch. How about the spiral thing? We go, ooh, you're feeling sleepy, you're feeling sleepy, you're feeling sleepy, you're a chicken.
Yeah.
You can't lift your arms.
Can't do it.
I have so many questions though. Can it last forever? Like smoking. If you can do smoking cessation with hypnotism, did they just do it partial so you got to keep coming back? Or could they do it so it lasts forever? So many questions.
Oh, wow.
And so little time, right?
I didn't think you could within the first 5 minutes tack a nefarious motivation.
Well, already, if I'm the head of the symposium, I'm going, guys, you don't want to cure him forever,
right? Yeah.
Because in the medical world,
don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. Like,
you think we don't have a cure for cancer? Come on.
It's like the shrink who says one visit,
right? Yeah.
And then he's sitting at home all week going, how do I pay the mortgage?
I told you that's the Mel Brooks psychiatrist. I once treated a woman, terrible nerves. She would tear paper, always tearing paper. I cured her. One visit. What did you do? I said, don't tear paper. Why are you tearing paper?
So let's. I'm dying to get our guest on to talk to him. You want to do the you like
I can absolutely. So we will be speaking with Dr. David Spiegel, and medical director of the Center for Integrative Medicine at Stanford.
Yeah, he's
University School of Medicine. He's a very big guy. More than 40 years of research and experience in psycho. It says psycho-oncology. Which that's a thing right there.
Well, I'm sure he used to help with cancer patients. Yeah. Plus, I've seen a lot of his videos, and I want him. Hopefully, he'll do a little bit of self hypnosis today for anxiety because it's fast.
Well, I'll tell you, if nothing else, this impressed me. I'll give this one last credit. He's written books and he's on numerous panels, but he was invited to speak on hypnosis at the World Economic Forum in Davos in 2018. Cool. And what do they want to know about? It's a fascinating place to bring this into the picture. Let's welcome Dr. David Spiegel. So Peter, say hello to my new best friend, Dr. David Spiegel. Welcome to Really No Really, sir.
Happy to be here.
Thanks,
for having me.
thanks.
So stage magic. I know that's not your thing. You're
You
necessarily
keep saying magic. Do you mean
stage
hypnosis?
hypnosis. Yeah,
Because you're already poo-pooing and lumping it in with magic.
I am, and I guess that shows a bias that I don't believe it.
You
even
think
though
that shows a bias.
even though you had me in Max
Maven.
show. I was
Yeah.
on stage doing it. And it is a weird thing doing it because when you're on stage, you're a little disoriented. There's a bit of compliance because other people are doing it. So you kind of go along with it more than not, okay? But what's your take, being an expert in the field, about you see this where they can't lift their hand, they're chicken.
Well, let's not. So, Dr. have you seen either live or on film a stage hypnosis show?
Yeah, I've seen
what's
lots of recordings.
Yeah.
I've never been able to stomach ponying up the money to actually pay to watch it because
I detect a take on it.
yeah, there is a take on it. Well, now the thing is, it's kind of the phenomenon is real, but there's a certain amount of deception that goes on in the way these guys do it.
Yeah.
And I just don't like using what I think is a wonderful and powerful phenomenon to make people look silly. But there is actually a message in it. So what they do that I'm sure happened in your show, they don't just grab the first three people and put them all through these things. What they do is get some people up, try a few things, ask most of them to sit down, and keep on stage the people who respond the most.
Right.
Because there are big differences in hypnotizability, and not everybody can do all that stuff. Not everybody will cluck like a chicken, or the football coach won't dance like a ballerina. So they've got to first filter out to get to the maybe 20% of the population sitting there who are very hypnotizable, and then have them do those extreme things. And it is illustrating that there is this powerful phenomenon out there, that there are people who can do things with their brains and their bodies that we didn't think we could do. That's a very important lesson and something that I use every day in my office. But I don't like the way it's done. It's sort of like snake oil with medicines. There are good uses of medicines, but snake oil isn't on the list.
But do you feel it's real when when you watch it and you got the person that you feel is the most suggestible? Is that real when they say you can't put down your hands, or do you think it is compliance, or do you think it is a bit of they whisper in their ear like, "Hey, this is going to be fun for the audience," whatever? Or can you actually get somebody who's compliant to do that?
I just had somebody in my office did it an hour ago. So the answer is yes, it happens.
Wow.
You pull the hand down, you've given them an instruction that it feel like a balloon, and it floats right back up, and they're surprised. They say, "Oh my goodness." So we have this kind of intense mind-body connection. And actually the biggest message I hope your listeners will take to heart is that when he shows the football coach dancing like a ballerina, he's showing that you can try out being different and see what it feels like in hypnosis. And I can tell you what's going on in their brains when they do it because we've studied that. But it is an opportunity to try out what it would be like if I were a different person, if I didn't react to pain with fear and anger, but rather taught my brain how to reprocess the pain. I could actually feel less pain and be less anxious.
So
I thought, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just wondering because you had mentioned what is actually triggering in the brain when they do that. Is it a dopamine thing? Is it what is the neurological
it's actually
reaction?
more an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is involved, but it's gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA. It's the major inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain, and it is the thing that is triggered by benzodiazepines, by anti-anxiety medications, and some of the sleeping meds. And it calms down particularly activity in a part of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex. The cingulate cortex is like the C on its ends in the middle of your brain. And the front part is what we call the salience network. It's the alarm system in the brain. So you hear a loud noise and think, "Oh my God, what was that?" That's your salience network saying, "You better check this out. This could be a danger." We're pretty pathetic physical creatures. We don't run that well. We're not that strong. So if you didn't have an alarm system that warned you when there was trouble lurking around outside your cave, you could be in big trouble. That's what that system does. Now, in our case, most of the dangers aren't physical. They're emotional or psychological. So what we do in hypnosis is just turn down activity there. You're less likely to be distracted. and you're less likely to be bothered by apparent contradictions. So, my left hand really isn't any lighter than my right hand, but you know what? Right now it feels that way. And you pull the hand down, and you know what? It just feels like it's going up. Now, that's surprising. It's strange. The brain can do that for many people. And you turn down that sort of critical part of your brain that says, oh, no, that couldn't be. And you find out that it is, that you can be different.
Can you
That's a tremendous advantage.
Can you make people do things against their will? If I'm determined not to do something, when I'm in that state, whatever that state is, that altered state, can you make me do something that I would not normally do or I would find offensive or wrong?
Well, I got you to record me on this.
Point taken.
Bravo.
Let me put it this way. You do, to some extent, suspend judgment. You don't entirely suspend judgment. So there's a famous story of Jean-Martin Charcot, a famous French neurologist who used to teach people about hypnosis in the 18th century. He taught Freud in the early 19th century how to use hypnosis. And the story was that they had a young woman patient who was very hypnotizable. And they had her, to demonstrate that you could do anything with hypnosis, they had her imagine that her mother was in front of her and she had an axe in her hand and she was going to murder her mother. And so she starts screaming and yelling and swinging her arms. And the professor marches off saying, see, I've proven it. Well, the trainees thought they'd try one other thing with her. She was still hypnotized. They said, well, it's getting time for bed and you're going to take off your clothes and go to bed. And she opened her eyes, told them to go to hell, and stomped out of the room. So she knew the difference between play acting, killing her imaginary mother, and taking her real clothes off in front of a bunch of lascivious medical students. So yes, people can. You're reducing the threshold. You're saying, I'll do some strange things, but when it comes to something with serious consequences, in most circumstances, people won't do that. And they turn it down, but they don't eliminate judgment.
Okay.
The other thing that I've seen that seems legit, but I don't, with my understanding of hypnosis and what it can do, I don't understand why this is a possibility. But I have seen things, acts of physical strength that are greatly enhanced by people under that state. Why would what you're describing also enable somebody to access more physical ability?
Hypnosis involves three things. It involves intense focus of attention. It's like looking through a telephoto lens in a camera. What you see with great detail. You put outside of conscious awareness things that would ordinarily be in consciousness. So right now you guys are sitting in, I'm sure, wonderfully comfortable chairs there. But hopefully you weren't even aware of the sensations in your butts touching these chairs, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you were, we could just stop the interview now. And so you're doing something that involves a certain amount of physical experience and contact that you're just not aware of. You're putting it outside of consciousness. So you dissociate it. That's the second thing. And the third thing is you inhibit the part of your brain that says you shouldn't be doing this, or people like you don't do things like this, or you know what your mother would think of you if you did. You turn down that about self-evaluation. Right. So in those circumstances, you can intensify your response. It's sort of like what you saw the Olympic athletes do, that they focus very intently. Or think about Steph Curry, with that final three-pointer that won the game with these two huge guys blocking him. And he's just, all he's focused on is his connection with the ball. And he's done that so many times. I love watching him. And so the other stuff just disappeared. So he was able to do something that very few people could do because he's so skilled, by narrowing his focus of attention, figuring out how to get back away from those guys and get the ball in the basket.
Can I mention something
that's
along with
hypnotic-like state?
Yeah.
So I had to play. I'm from Philly, and I was on the air in Philly, and they had us play halftime for charity during an NBA game. Okay, with the Philadelphia Eagles. First of all, running back and forth for 15 minutes, you want to die. The Eagles are all going, screw this, okay?
We get to huddle up.
We lie down. We sit down the other. These guys are running full out for as long as, you can't even imagine the skill. But the other thing is the ball comes to me, and I go to shoot it. What people don't realize is the backboard's glass. You can see through it. So I'm seeing
Right.
little kids going like this. I'm seeing people's faces. I'm seeing the amount of distraction that you have. When, to your point, to be able to shut all of that out is stunning, just completely
Yes.
stunning. So in the hypnosis, now getting more to the more serious stuff, can hypnosis help recall memories, forgotten memories, past memories accurately?
Well, yes, to the extent that any memory recall is active. I mean, our brain records vast amounts of information, but it's not a digital recorder. And so you will, just as your memory of that experience on the floor there will be influenced by your arousal, your fear of looking silly, your fear of getting knocked over by one of those guys. Um, it influences the way you store and retrieve recollection. But that said, memory is mainly works by association, by context. So when you went back, if you went back to your grade school sometime years later, you probably started remembering things that you hadn't thought of since you were in grade school. you know, the nasty kid in the next locker, or whatever else it was. And so with hypnosis, you can intensify your focus. You can intensify your experience of not just thinking about it, but being there, and trigger associations. And there are times when people who have traumatic experiences can deal with the unpleasant emotions that come with it, calming themselves, reminding themselves that they're now safe, but allow their brains to reaccess experiences that were painful or difficult. So, can that happen? Yes. Is it an absolute guarantee that the memory is completely accurate? No, but that's true for all memories.
So there was a fairly famous story in the UFO community, but it was done as a docudrama as well, about a couple named Betty and Barney Hill that could not account for. They were on a road trip and they couldn't account for a period of their lives. They basically felt like they had a blackout experience, and it was freaking them out. And they went to a therapist first of all, and then a hypnotherapist, who under hypnosis regressed them back to this period that they couldn't account for.
Mm-hmm.
And individually, separately, they started to recall from their own perspectives an alien abduction and what happened to them. And it became a very famous story in the UFO community. But my question always was, would we be more correct to assume that they were recounting something they actually experienced or believed they experienced, or did it open up a key to their imagination and their imaginations went off on a spin?
Yeah. The answer is yes. I think it's entirely possible. I think it's likely that it opened a key to their imagination. And you can have people in hypnosis vividly picture something, like that young woman imagining murdering her mother that just didn't happen, but it's
Right.
vivid. So the narrow focus of attention allows you, on the one hand, to intensely focus on the concept, on what you're doing, and maybe therefore access real memories better. Or it can be an instruction to imagine things. And I do that with hypnosis all the time.
Yeah.
Picture yourself in a pleasant situation. Imagine you're floating in a bath, a lake, a hot tub, or floating in space. And they do it. My patient just an hour ago was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm floating in the Pacific Ocean outside near Hawaii." And he's a guy with a lot of anxiety problems, but he was able instantly to so affiliate with this image of a place where he obviously was not, that his body felt better, and his
Right.
anxiety went from 4 to 1. So it can go either way. It's no truth serum, but it can allow us to intensely focus.
So turning to that idea of what you do for much of your professional life, what reasonably do people turn to hypnotherapists or hypnotherapy for? What is areas that are reasonable to expect some result, and perhaps some that are ridiculous?
Well, it's very reasonable to expect help with problems like stress management, because stress is a mind-body interaction where you worry about something, you notice your body getting tense, and then you think, "Oh my God, this must be really bad." It's like a snowball rolling downhill; it just picks up speed.
Right.
So you can use hypnosis to help people manage their physical stress first. Go to Hawaii and float in the ocean, and then I had him picture a problem that he's really struggling with in his work. And he was able, doing that while keeping his body calm, to picture a first step I know the meeting, I know the people I need to convene to work on solving this problem. And he literally made himself feel better by keeping his body comfortable, but also allowing his mind to stop panicking and focus on the next step to dealing with the problem. So that's the kind of thing you can do.
And are you able to turn that into a therapy he can access without being in a session with you?
Yes, indeed. And either people can just remember how to do it, or we've built an app called Reverie, Reveri, where you get to hear my mellifluous voice anytime you want. And I give instructions about getting your body floating. And then I'll ask, is your body floating now? And if they say yes, I go on to the next step of dealing with the problem. If not, I help them to intensify that. So it's a digital interactive app that helps people with problems like stress, with pain. We teach people to filter the hurt out of the pain. Imagine you're in a, if your back is really sore or you've had surgery or something, imagine you're floating on Lake Tahoe, cool, tingling, and numb. Filter the hurt out of the pain. And we have randomized clinical trials that prove that people taught self-hypnosis during medical procedures have significantly less pain and less anxiety and shorter procedure time because they're so comfortable than people who have standard care, just pushing a button and getting opioids.
Yeah.
Is this like, okay, so is this like you're changing the client's expectations, like the placebo effect, except with no deception? Is that what this is?
It's you're right, no deception, but it's more powerful than the placebo effect. There have been studies that compare the two. And the placebo effect, if you're not very hypnotizable, is like trying to experience hypnosis. But if you're hypnotized, you can literally tolerate keeping your hand in cold water longer if you're using hypnosis. You're imagining you've got a warm glove on your hand that's filtering out the cold, and you will literally feel less discomfort and deal with the cold water temperature longer.
All right. So this was a thing that happened to me, and we're at Howie Mandel's studio, recorded Howie, and Howie is like the spokesperson for OCD. And even this morning,
Yes.
I don't think he'll mind me saying, he said if he doesn't work up until he falls asleep, he ruminates, and it's really tough. I had a period in my life that was, I guess I tend to OCD maybe, where I
You
thought
tend to OCD?
and I
you
also
think
have, I also have
you
massive
think you tend to OCD?
and I also have massive support.
What was the giveaway for you that
Yeah,
you might have a
massive support.
I can
tendency?
see that.
I have massive support and friendships also, thank God.
Yes.
You're the wind beneath my butt, chicks,
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
So,
I want you to imagine that there's nobody sitting there.
by the way,
But in another couple of episodes, he won't have to
I'm
imagine.
alone. So out of curiosity, this was a big one for me. And when I tell people, it resonated with so many people. So I bring it up here just to get your take on it. So there was a point in my life where I thought I was going to be fired. I was in radio a long time. I was sure I was going to lose my job. And I was telling this guy who wasn't even that close a friend who I was walking with. And he said, you know something? You're firing yourself 3-4 times a night and it feels real. And I thought, he said, you may get fired at some point and you'll figure it out. But you're firing yourself every single night. And it resonated in such a strong way. It felt like it was a real thing. So I started going back to the Baba Ram Dass thing of Be Here Now. And every time I'd write it, I would remember that when I'm creating a story that doesn't exist, and it was creating anxiety, to just be in the present and go, it hasn't happened, you're creating that story. How would hypnotherapy aid that with OCD, if possible, if somebody's going through that, the story that they're telling themselves?
Well, hypnosis has been called believed in imagination. So it's not just that you're imagining, but you're not saying, oh, I'm sitting here imagining it. Your friend who deserves a psychotherapist license for what he did, was helping you to put it in perspective, to say, yes, you're having these fears, you have that anxiety, but the way you're doing it makes it seem like it's actually happening. And that just amplifies your anxiety. And you feel the physical tension, and you think, oh my God, this must be serious, and on you go. So what you can do with hypnosis is picture something that helps to correct the situation, or just you can detach yourself from it to the extent that you realize you're imagining it, it's not happening, but you're experiencing it as though it were happening, and that just makes you more and more anxious.
For real. Before we go, would you mind, because it was somewhat powerful, I could tell my kid knocked on the door and interrupted. I was doing your 5-minute or 6-minute self-hypnosis thing. Would you mind doing a little bit? Could you do a little bit for people watching now who've never experienced that, to just feel what that's like? And by the way, your voice is just the best, because it really kind of just, it's soothing and it's quiet. And I grew up in a household where I heard, "Don't be an idiot." So there were no voices like
That didn't motivate you?
there were no voices like yours in my house growing up. You see your friends doing that, so you know.
Yeah.
One of the things we emphasize in the way we use hypnosis, because people take it in so much, is focus on what you're for. So the dumbest thing you can say to somebody is, "Don't be an idiot," because you think, "Oh, I'm an idiot." It's like, don't think about purple elephants.
Sure. Right.
So instead, we'll help people focus on what they're for, and that's what we do on Reverie. So people are welcome to hear it anytime they want.
So give us a moment of this.
And Reverie's in the App Store, right? We would find it.
It's in the App Store. It's in Google Play, and you can download it from our website, www.reverie.com.
Wow.
Terrific.
And
Just anecdotally, before we do whatever you're going to do, someone I know and care about a lot, their biggest struggle right now is sleep issues. Is
Yes.
it? I would imagine it's extremely useful for sleep issues.
It's very useful when people want to go to sleep, because what you do is you say, "Look, you have all these thoughts going around. They're arousing you. You have to turn off your sympathetic nervous system to go to sleep. Turn off the fight or flight system, and turn on the rest and digest system, the parasympathetic. But you have these thoughts, and that just gets you aroused. And then you think, 'Damn it, I'm not going to get to sleep. I only got 4 hours last night.' And you're just doing more of that.
Right.
So instead, you affiliate with an image that helps make you comfortable. Imagine you're floating in a bath, a lake, a hot tub, or floating in space. And if you're continuing to have these thoughts, project them onto a screen as if you were watching somebody's bad movie, and just detach your body from it, so that whatever you're thinking about, okay, but keep your body floating, relaxed, and comfortable.
Right.
And we have thousands of people now who are saying, we had a reporter for the Times in London was saying, having trouble. She said she hadn't slept in a year, and she just learned to do what I was telling you. And she said, I first couple nights didn't help very much, and I opened my eyes and I thought, "Oh, damn it, I'm up in the middle of the night." And I looked at my clock, and it was 7:09 a.m. It's the first full night of sleep I had gotten in a year. And so you can just learn to detach this interaction of physical and psychological arousal, and that really helps people get to sleep.
Boy.
I used to worry that Reverie wouldn't be as good as being in the office with me, and I've treated about 7,000 people in my career, so I've learned to do it. But I thought, I realized, is Reverie as good as that? And then I thought, if you wake up at 3 a.m, probably the last thing you want is for me to be in your bedroom telling you how to get back to sleep. But you've got me on the app. So
That's fantastic.
All right, well, let's go out with, if we can, take us through a little bit of self-hypnosis.
And by the way, the post-hypnotic suggestion of tuning in every Tuesday as new episodes drop every would not be a terrible.
If you add that in,
Right,
just
yeah,
add that in.
Yeah, just if
I'm getting sleepy. You can't raise your arms, and
go to
when a new episode drops. Yeah. All right, so that's great. You just hoard up and made dirty something so beautiful.
No. I took advantage of a beautiful opportunity.
Yes, okay.
That's all.
I like that so much softer way you say took advantage
What I learned
of.
is to do what's for, not what's against.
Take advantage
all
of
right?
is the much
That's right.
softer
Right.
term.
That's right.
So proud of you.
notice-
So proud of you.
how this is the pot calling the kettle black. He starts off with stage hypnosis in magic shows, and he's accusing you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, here we go. Ouch. All right, doctor, we got to run. Here you go. Go ahead.
All right, get as comfortable as you can. On 1, do one thing. Look up all the way up high as you can. On 2, do 2 things. Slowly close your eyes and take a deep breath. And on 3, do 3 things. Let the breath out, let your eyes relax but keep them closed, and let your body float. And as let your body float, let one hand or the other float up in the air like a balloon and rest in a comfortable upright position. Each breath deeper and easier. And now imagine you're floating somewhere safe and comfortable, a bath, a lake, a hot tub, or floating in space. And I want you to breathe in a special way. Inhale through your nose, starting with your belly. Stick out your belly. Hold. Now fill your chest completely. Expand your chest. And then slowly exhale through your mouth. And again, inhale through your nose, starting with your belly. Expand your chest. Nice, slow exhale through your mouth. So you're using your imagination to float, and you're helping your body breathe in a way that enhances your ability to relax. Each breath deeper and easier, and nice slow exhale. Now picture in your mind's eye an imaginary screen. It could be a movie screen, a TV screen, or a piece of clear blue sky. And picture on it a place where you naturally feel comfortable. A lake, or floating in the ocean, or lying in a mountain meadow. And notice how you can help your mind and your body feel more comfortable. And if something is troubling you, divide the screen in half. And on the left side, picture one thing that's bothering you, but with the rule that no matter what you see on the screen, your body is relaxed and comfortable. And notice how you can look at it more clearly. And then use the right side of the screen as your problem-solving screen. Picture one thing you can do about the problem on the left. And notice how you can feel better by formulating a strategy. It's not the only one, may not be the best one, but it's a way of dealing with the problem. And now, if you're trying to get to sleep or get back to sleep, keep your body floating and just picture whatever it is you're thinking about on the screen, but away from your body. Like you're watching a bad home movie, but just allow your body to feel floating, relaxed, and comfortable as you let these thoughts and feelings and images flow through you. One more nice deep breath in, starting with your belly. Expand your chest, and now slowly exhale through your mouth. Now we'll come out of this state of hypnotic concentration, feeling relaxed and refreshed. On 3, you'll look up. On 2, with your eyelids closed, roll up your eyes again. On 1, let your eyes open. Let your hand float back down, make a fist open, and that'll be the end of the exercise. 3, 2, 1.
I learned a lot. Now, first I have to ask you, how was that for you?
It's hard for me to be still because I'm ADHD, whatever, but as I'm letting go of it, it's really funny. I'm tense all the time. Even when I drive, I notice I can't just relax. It forces me to be really aware of that and to actually relax and not lie to myself and go, you know what, Peter, you're still tense. Let it go, let it go. So that was really helpful. It's almost like a gift where you go, I'm going to take a minute for myself and just cater to something, which we don't do.
So now I'm going to reveal something that I teased at the beginning, which was I took a course in hypnosis about how to an introductory course of how to help somebody go into a hypnotic state. And I remember being so impressed by it and learning a lot, and was actually able to do it for 1 or 2 people in a very light way. But at the same time, everybody in the class was also the participants. So, many times we were invited up to be the person put under. And the guy teaching me went, you're having a really hard time, aren't you? And I felt like I was never able to do it. And it wasn't because I was resistant. And Dr. Spiegel, maybe you can actually confirm or deny some of this. What I have heard is that some of the best subjects for right. Demonstration hypnosis would be people like soldiers, because they are used to having a physical response to an auditory command, more or less. When I was being given suggestions of how to relax and what to picture and what to do, even now I'm going, hey, it's a lot of stuff. I'm not, my mind goes, well, wait, I just started doing this. Now you're asking me to do this. Wait, I wasn't ready to breathe. And I'm having a dialogue in my head that I have disruptive. A very hard time shutting off.
Wow.
So as a lot of people are giving over to the ideas and giving over to the sensations, my system actually can start to get a little more verklempt and frustrated because I'm going, that's faster. I wasn't ready. My head is saying that internally, going, I wasn't ready. I'm not ready. I don't like that. and it's so hard for me. And so now you have we talk about sleep issues. That's how I have to go to bed to go, shut up.
Wow. But
Shut
I
up.
wonder, before you answer, Dr. Spiegel, I wonder if it's because your entire life, since you were a kid, with acting, when people give you direction, you all immediately go into processing solutions-based stuff. I got to get in this character. There's a lot of stuff that comes with, hey, Jason, I want you to get up and do this in this scene. And you go, okay, where's the character? Who's he? What's it?
Yeah,
There's a lot to process.
I actually think it has more to do with how intimidated and frightened I was as a child, so that I spent, I think, a disproportionate amount of time hyper-focusing on everything around me and flash considering what ifs that it's very hard for me to turn that off. But so it's so this area is so interesting to me because I have participated from the other side and
It's hard.
seen its effectiveness.
So did you just have a hard time with this thing?
I was
The whole
literally,
time,
I
the
was
whole time.
smiling because I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. He's going on
can't
3,
be
you do
present.
this, and on 2,
You
you do
can't
this.
be-
I'm going, I'm still on 3.
So, doctor, before you go, the diagnosis for Jason, how does somebody like that who possesses that pushback, how do you overcome that?
Well, you don't overcome it, you work with it.
Yeah.
There are differences in hypnotizability. So I'm guessing that David is not very hypnotizable. I'm guessing you're not the kind of person that gets so caught up in a good movie that you forget you're watching a movie. You're always thinking, well, why did the director do that?
Actually, no, that's the opposite for me. That kind of thing
Really?
I can get lost in. But,
You can?
yeah.
Well, you may be then at least somewhat hypnotizable, but the fact that you can't turn off your critical judgment, even in situations where you might, is more typical of people who are not very hypnotizable.
Yeah.
And people who are, they go with the flow. They let themselves experience it. And later they may think, well, why did he do that? And it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But I suspect people differ in their hypnotizability. It's as stable a trait in adult life as IQ.
Yeah.
Over a 25-year interval. And I'm guessing you would score on the low side. Rather
You
than
have just
being high.
that is you have that they will write that on my tomb. He scored on the low side.
Dr. Spiegel, thank you for getting his. I now know what to put on his tombstone or the urn. Thank you for coming on. And by the way, you want to
You're
check out reverie.com, REVE.
I am downloading tonight.
I'm doing it too. Doing it now.
Terrific.
I'm doing it now.
Terrific.
Thanks for your time.
I'm so glad.
Such a pleasure.
My
Thanks for
Take
being
care.
with
Thank you
us.
for having me on.
Yeah,
This.
pleasure.
Of course. Well,
I didn't know that.
here's what we know: is I would be dismissed from the stage.
You know, it's funny. We know each other a long time. We've
Yeah.
been best friends a long time. It's funny how this podcast we've learned new stuff about each other that didn't come up. And I thought we shared everything.
I did this in as a high school summer course, and I unfortunately I can't remember the gentleman's name who was teaching the course. I would credit him, but it was fascinating. And I have seen things like a student in the class was deeply under, and at that point, this man was able to stick pins in this guy's arm, up and down his arm. Now, even given that heat burns up, not down, the guy put a lit match in this guy's palm and allowed it to burn out, and said, not only will you not feel anything, but there will be no burn, there will be no mark, there will be no nothing. And the guy, he seems as wide awake as you and I are, and he's looking at it, and under hypnosis with a burning match in his hand, he's going, oh my God, there's a burning match in my hand. I mean, he's fully aware, and yet he could
Mind,
not
body.
feel it,
It's a mind, body.
and even the freak of going, oh my God, I'm holding a match. Nothing of that happened. So I have seen and participated in how sort of astonishing this could be, but I was an impossible subject. And without rancor, the guy said to me, no, the way your mind fires,
And what's funny
this would be
is
very challenging for
I
you.
thought I had a lot of noise in my head, playing stuff
Yeah.
constantly, and I can't sleep. As a kid, I never slept because I'd missed something. And
Right.
there's always noise. There's always idea. You know me, a million ideas.
Right.
I didn't know that was also, in a way, because you're
But
calmer
it's a
than me in a
different
way.
kind of noise. So what your noise is from the things around you that get in. My noise is totally inside. It's literally when he's going, on 3 you'll do this, on 2 you'll do this, and on 1 you'll do this, and I'm going, did he mean that was the 3? Should I have done it already? I'm trying to process what's happening on the inside, and he's going, split the screen,
All right,
see
all right,
the thing
all
on the
right,
left
hold on,
side,
hold on.
and on the right side see a solution, and on the right side I see me killing the thing on the left side.
So wait a minute.
You know,
So to be fair about it, when my hands were up in the air, the 1, 2, 3 thing is not totally clear. He goes in on 3, and I'm going, is that the 3? Are we doing the
right,
3
is
now?
this 3
Or
or
are
was
you
that
gonna
3
go
or
on-
is this 3? Right, yeah, right.
David. My
Oh,
subconscious,
David's still out. Look,
my-
his hand never came down. The doctor never said put your hand down.
My
to David Goodman.
subconscious mind was going, wait a minute, you need some clarity here. So, David Guggenheim, put your hand down.
Can we get him back on? Because I cannot get this goddamn hand down. I'm just like, I'm fighting it over
Hold on,
here.
David,
Oh,
stop.
my
Look at me.
God.
Look at me.
Yeah.
You're getting
Yeah.
sleepy.
Yeah.
You're getting
okay.
sleepy.
Right.
Sit on
You're
your
not doing. No, you're
Sit
no.
on
Your
your hand.
voice.
Sit on your hand.
At least try to do melodious.
Your hand is going down. It's reaching for your wallet. Take your wallet.
We do it
There's
different on
nothing in
hypnosis.
there.
Ready?
There's nothing
Sit
in
on
there.
your hand, damn it. Sit. All right. So tell us,
right.
what did we miss?
What did we miss?
learn?
What
Yeah.
happened?
Well,
What did we-
that's my mouse hand. I should have done the bit with the
Oh,
left
right,
hand.
yeah.
For God's sake.
Schmuck.
For God's sake.
It's like Hendrix. He's got to learn how to play with his left
Jesus.
hand now. And by
Oh
the
my
way,
God.
and
Wait,
do-
I have
and
a
other
trackpad.
stuff.
I have a
And
track-
other- and other stuff. Yeah.
This is amazing. I love the whole thing. I just sort of, I was looking to see, like, is hypnosis a real thing and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then I was looking into famous people who have actually used hypnosis for different things.
Sure.
Have found that it is, either successful for them or not. And interesting enough, and a lot of people are thinking this, like, especially Jason, when you said the thing about soldiers, right? Are they
Yeah.
more
Right.
likelihood to just follow orders and do the whole thing? Well, and you might think, oh, maybe that's an intelligence thing, or something of that. But apparently, Albert Einstein used a form of self-hypnosis when he was sort of ruminating over the physics and all of that, and that has been attributed to some of the aspects of him coming up with the theory of relativity.
Yes.
So there you go. We also have other people like Julia Roberts,
Uh-huh.
who she and her brother, when they were younger, were dealing with a stutter and speech issues. They both used, apparently, hypnosis. And of course, Julia Roberts, not a
Well, she used it to forget that she has ever worked with or associated with me whatsoever.
And may I just say, may I interrupt? Take 2 seconds to say,
Yeah.
we were home the other night, my wife and I, and on came Pretty Woman. I haven't seen it in a million years. I forgot
I'm
how
not a nice
friggin'
guy.
good you are. And no, I know you like a brother. Holy crap, Jay.
Yeah.
Wow, were you a slime ball? Oh, but so great. Congratulate. What a
Well, thank
yeah,
you
it was
very
amazing.
much.
Totally amazing.
Well, I don't know if it was worth the year and change of women coming up and spitting on me
on
on
you.
the street.
Wow, were you? And also, Richard Gere at that time in his life was
Stunning.
the best. There was
You
no
bet.
better looking human being.
It was like
Anyway.
a spotlight was on him 24/7.
Oh my! But
Yeah.
you were so friggin'. I forgot.
Well, you know what? You're very kind, but someday we'll do a whole thing on this. But a lot of what you saw for that whole movie, and certainly my performance, is Gary Marshall, because we did so many varieties of, well, maybe do it this way, maybe do it this way, maybe like in the scene where I attack her in the hotel room.
Holy moly!
So it comes off kind of brutally
It
now.
is brutal.
But there's a version we did where I, went to touch her, and Gary said, beat the shit out of him. So she would like, and it was silly because now she's wailing on me, and you never knew what version of anything he
that
was going
thing
to
was
use.
brutal. I didn't realize how
And
brutal.
so he cobbled together.
Congratulations!
those
Wow!
performances. But-
Wow! And wow!
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes,
David, yes, his hand is
it's
still up.
I love
But if
it.
you're not watching on YouTube, David Guggenheim's hand refuses to go down.
It's okay because if you see him at the store, hand him a 5. It's staying
Peter,
up.
feel free to go through the entire filmography while I'm just
All right,
here
so
with my-
so Jason also was in. You don't know Dunst.
You haven't talked about Rocky and
with
Bullwinkle
Faye
yet.
Dunaway.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Go ahead.
the only people not to,
Wait a
anyway.
minute. David, are you still in hypnosis or you have a question? Is that why your hand up?
I have no questions. I'm still in.
He's the answer man.
I'm getting the Reverie app. Is all I'm saying. I gotta get the doctor back. We also got Tiger Woods used it for the stroke.
Oh.
Reese Witherspoon for anxiety and issues like that.
Sure.
Mary Lou Retton was suffering with apparently really bad foot pain when she, of course, a famous gymnast in the Olympics,
Sure.
took gold in the 80s. Mozart apparently wrote one of his famous operas while hypnotized.
David.
Now, I'll tell you something. Here's what's interesting. There's another very famous group of people that you did not mention who are alive only through the power of suggestion in the mind. In the Star Trek episode,
Good night, everybody.
Spectre of the Gun,
God.
where the Star Trek crew is transported to a fake OK Corral.
Jupiter Shatner.
That's a fake OK Corral. And everything they experience there will have real life effects. But Spock, the true logician, has determined that it's all an illusion, a very believable illusion. And he said the way to survive the gunfight that we inevitably will have at the OK Corral is to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that the bullets are not real. They are illusions. And I think Shatner says to him, well, Spock, that's easy for you, but if any of us have a shadow of a doubt, he goes, then you will die. And so he mind melds, which is really just hypnosis. It's just hypnosis. He mind melds them going, they are shadows. They are not real. Blah, blah, blah. And the guys stand there, and Wyatt Earp and his gang go bang, 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 and they stand there and they're unaffected, and that's how they beat the Melkoshians and make the Melkoshians believe that humanity is a superior race, all through the power of hypnosis. Good night, everybody.
And you know what would have been great? And then we got to run. What would have been great if that was the final episode of Star Trek and didn't work?
Right, didn't work. One
Good night,
guy had a little
everybody.
bit of a... One guy went, what if?
And we're done. And we're out.